Alright, let me tell you something. In my business, I see all kinds of things come through the door. Gold, diamonds, weird historical artifacts you wouldn't believe. But there's one thing that always gets my attention. A good silver coin. You can feel the history right in your hand. This isn't just a piece of metal. It's a story. A tiny piece of a forgotten time. For thousands of years, people have trusted silver. It's been used to buy land, pay soldiers, and build empires. It has a weight to it, a certain heft, that just feels real. You know what I mean? It's not just currency, it's a legacy. Think about it. Before there were credit cards, before there were even paper bills, there was silver. A farmer in ancient Rome could use a silver denarius to buy seeds, and that same coin could end up in the pocket of a merchant traveling the Silk Road. It connected people across vast distances. When someone brings an old silver coin into my shop, I'm not just looking at its melt value or its numismatic grade. I'm looking at a survivor. This little disc has been through wars, revolutions, and the rise and fall of civilizations. It's a silent witness to history, and that, my friend, is priceless. The shine of silver has captivated humanity for millennia. It's not as flashy as gold, but it has a cool, elegant luster that people have always found beautiful. Kings and queens put their faces on silver coins to show their power and authority, spreading their image across their entire kingdom. Every scratch, every bit of wear on an old coin tells a part of its journey. Who held it? What did they buy with it? Was it part of a pirate's treasure hoard or a simple worker's daily wage? These are the questions that make collecting silver so fascinating. It's like being a detective, piecing together the past one coin at a time. This fascination isn't just for history buffs or old-timers. Even today, people are drawn to silver. Some people collect it, hoping to find that one rare piece that's worth a fortune. Others buy modern silver coins, like the American Silver Eagle, as a way to invest in something tangible, something real, that you can hold in your hand. It's a connection to our past and a hedge for our future. So stick with me, and I'll walk you through the incredible story of silver coins, from the very first ones ever minted to the shiny new ones being made today. You never know what you're gonna learn. So, where did this all start? You have to go way back, over 2,600 years ago, to a kingdom called Lydia. It was in modern-day Turkey. The Lydians were smart merchants, but they had a problem. They were trading with lumps of metal, mostly a natural mix of gold and silver called electrum. The problem was, you never knew exactly how much gold or silver was in each lump. It was a real pain. You'd have to weigh it every time, test its purity, and haggle over its value. It was inefficient and made big business difficult. Someone had to come up with a better way. King Alyattes of Lydia, around 610 BC, had a brilliant idea. He decided to create standardized pieces of this metal. His government would guarantee the weight and the purity. To prove it was official, he stamped each piece with a symbol. In this case, the head of a lion. Boom. The first coin was born. But these were electrum. The real game changer was when his son, King Croesus, the richest Croesus guy, decided to separate the metals. He started minting the world's first true gold coins, and more importantly for our story, the world's first pure silver coins. These silver coins were called Croesus staters, and they changed everything. Now, instead of a messy, complicated barter system, you had a simple, elegant solution. Each silver coin had a set value. You didn't need scales for every little transaction anymore. A shopkeeper knew exactly what a coin was worth, and so did his customers. This made trade faster, fairer, and much, much bigger. It was a revolution in commerce. Suddenly, you could pay soldiers, collect taxes, and build massive public works projects with an ease that was unimaginable before. The idea was so good that it spread like wildfire across the ancient world. The earliest silver coins were pretty crude by our standards. They were often lumpy, off-center, and the designs were simple. The Lydians would place a blank piece of silver over a die, a carved anvil, and then hammer it with a punch. This process, called striking, would impress the design onto the metal. The back of the coin, the reverse, usually just had a simple punch mark. But even these rough-looking coins represented a massive leap forward for civilization. They were the foundation of every monetary system that came after, including the dollars and cents we use today. It all started with a king who wanted to make trade a little easier. Once the Lydians let the cat out of the bag, everyone wanted in on the action. The Greeks in particular took the idea of silver coinage and ran with it. City-states like Athens got incredibly wealthy from their nearby silver mines at Laurion. They started minting one of the most famous coins of the ancient world, the Athenian owl tetradrachm. These were thick, heavy silver coins with a portrait of the goddess Athena on one side and her sacred owl on the other. This coin became the international currency of its day, kind of like the US dollar is now. You could find these owls from Egypt to India. Then you have the Romans. Man, the Romans knew how to use silver. Their empire was built on the back of the silver denarius. This was the coin that paid the legionaries who conquered half the known world. It was the coin used to build the Colosseum and all those famous aqueducts. For centuries, the denarius was the backbone of the Roman economy. But as the empire grew and got into financial trouble, the emperors started messing with the formula. They began debasing the coins, mixing in cheaper metals like copper to stretch their silver supply. People noticed, and trust in the currency collapsed. It's a classic story. When the money goes bad, the empire isn't far behind. It wasn't just a European thing either. Over in the East, ancient China had its own long history with money, but they eventually saw the value in precious metals too. While they used bronze cash coins for everyday transactions for centuries, silver became the metal of choice for large-scale trade and taxes. They would cast silver into boat-shaped or Sicey ingots, each stamped and verified by a bank or government official. When European traders showed up, it was silver they wanted in exchange for their goods. This massive flow of silver into China had a huge impact on their economy and connected them to the rest of the world in a new way. The power of silver was its universal appeal. It was rare enough to be valuable, but common enough to be used for widespread trade. An ancient Greek merchant could travel to Persia, and his silver drachmas would be recognized and accepted. This created a global network of commerce that had never existed before. The designs on the coins were also a form of propaganda. Alexander the Great put his own face on his coins, a bold move that set a precedent for rulers for the next 2,000 years. A silver coin wasn't just money, it was a message, a symbol of power and identity that could travel farther than any army. Every now and then, a coin comes along that's more than just a coin. It becomes an icon. I already mentioned the Athenian owl, but let's talk about another giant, the Spanish piece of 8. Officially called the Spanish dollar or the 8 reales coin, this thing was the undisputed king of currency for over 300 years. Mined from the massive silver deposits the Spanish found in the Americas, particularly in places like Potosi in Bolivia, these large, heavy silver coins flooded the globe. They were so trusted and so widespread that they became the world's first truly global currency. These pieces of 8 were used everywhere, from the Caribbean to the Far East. In fact, they were legal tender right here in the United States until 1857. Think about that. Our founding fathers were spending Spanish silver. The term 2 bits comes from these coins. To make change, people would literally cut the coin into 8 wedge-shaped pieces, or bits. So, 2 bits was a quarter of a dollar. The design on the coin, with the 2 pillars of Hercules wrapped in a banner, is even thought to be the origin of the modern dollar sign. That's some serious influence. Let's jump over to England. For centuries, their workhorse coin was the silver penny. But as the country grew into a global empire, they needed something more substantial. Enter the British florin and the half-crown. These larger silver coins, especially from the Victorian era, are pieces of art. The designs are incredibly intricate, showing a portrait of Queen Victoria as she aged, from a young girl to the grandmother of Europe. These coins circulated throughout the British Empire, from Canada to Australia to India, a silver thread connecting a vast and diverse realm. Finding a beautiful, uncirculated Victorian silver crown is a real treat for any collector. And you can't talk about iconic silver without mentioning the Maria Theresa thaler. This is a strange one. It's a large silver coin first minted in Austria in 1780, featuring a portrait of Empress Maria Theresa. Here's the crazy part. It was so popular in North Africa and the Middle East that Austria kept minting it with the same 1780 date for over 200 years, long after the Empress was gone. It became the preferred currency in places like Ethiopia and Yemen. Even today, you can buy newly struck Maria Theresa thalers, all bearing that same old date. It's a coin frozen in time, a testament to the power of trust and tradition in money. The story of silver is a story of movement. You know, it never stayed in one place for long. After Columbus and the Spanish conquistadors landed in the Americas, they discovered mountains of silver, more than anyone in Europe had ever dreamed of. Places like Potosi in Bolivia and Zacatecas in Mexico became the biggest silver producers in the world. This massive influx of silver from the New World completely transformed the global economy. It flowed from the Americas to Spain, funding the Spanish Empire's wars and ambitions. But it didn't stop there. From Spain, the silver spread out across the rest of Europe. Spanish merchants and soldiers spent their pieces of eight everywhere, from Italy to the Netherlands. This new wealth fueled the Renaissance, funded new artistic masterpieces, and led to a period of massive economic growth. However, it also caused huge inflation, a phenomenon known as the price revolution. Suddenly, there was so much more money chasing the same amount of goods, and prices for everything went through the roof. It was a hard lesson in economics for a lot of people. The silver that built fortunes also destroyed them. A huge portion of this American silver didn't even stay in Europe. It continued its journey eastward, along old and new trade routes. European merchants, especially the British and Dutch, desperately wanted the silks, spices, and porcelain of Asia. But they didn't have much that Asia wanted in return, except for silver. So, shiploads of Spanish pieces of eight sailed across the oceans to China and India. This silver paid for the tea that would be dumped into Boston Harbor. It created a direct economic link between the silver mines of Mexico and the markets of Shanghai, connecting the entire planet through a web of commerce. This global flow of silver had profound effects on every society it touched. In China, it led to the government demanding that taxes be paid in silver, which put immense pressure on peasants who didn't have easy access to it. In Africa, silver coins like the Maria Theresa thaler became essential for local trade, displacing older forms of currency. The journey of silver reshaped economies, toppled empires, and connected cultures in ways that were unimaginable before. A single silver coin found in the dirt in the Philippines could have started its life deep in a mountain in Bolivia, a silent testament to this first age of globalization. When you talk about America and money, you have to talk about silver. In the early days of the colonies, we didn't have our own mint. People used whatever they could get their hands on, and as I said, the most common and trusted coin was the Spanish silver dollar. Our entire financial vocabulary is based on it. When the time came to create our own currency, the founding fathers, guys like Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson, decided that the new United States dollar should be based on the Spanish dollar. The Coinage Act of 1792 officially defined the US dollar as 371.25 grains of pure silver. So, in 1794, the US Mint produced its very first silver dollars. These are known as the flowing hair dollars, and they are incredibly rare and valuable today. Only about 1,758 were ever minted, and finding one in good condition is the holy grail for many collectors. A few years ago, one of them sold for over $10 million. That's not a typo. These early silver dollars were big, beautiful coins that symbolized the sovereignty and ambition of our new nation. They were a statement to the world that America was here to stay. Throughout the 19th century, silver was at the center of some of America's biggest political battles. In the West, massive silver strikes like the Comstock Lode in Nevada created instant millionaires and fueled westward expansion. This led to a huge debate between the silverites, mostly farmers and miners who wanted the government to coin unlimited amounts of silver to increase the money supply and make it easier to pay off debts, and the gold bugs of the East, who wanted to stick to a strict gold standard. It was a fight for the soul of the American economy, culminating in William Jennings Bryan's famous Cross of Gold speech. This brings us to maybe the most famous American silver coin of all, the Morgan silver dollar. Minted from 1878 to 1904, and then again for 1 year in 1921, these big, heavy coins are the quintessential coin of the Old West. You can just picture them being slapped down on a saloon bar. They were made from all that silver coming out of Nevada. Today, they are one of the most popular coins for American collectors. Each one is a piece of that rough-and-tumble era of American history. Following the Morgan was the Peace Dollar, which commemorated the end of World War I. These were the last true silver dollars to circulate in America, marking the end of an era. So, what happened to all the silver coins? If you check your pockets right now, you probably won't find any. In 1965, the United States made a big change. The price of silver had risen so much that the metal in our dimes, quarters, and half dollars was worth more than their face value. People were hoarding them. To solve this, the government stopped making circulating coins out of 90% silver, and switched to the copper-nickel-clad coins we use today. Dimes and quarters minted in 1964 or earlier are the last of their kind, and they are highly sought after by collectors and investors for their silver content. But that wasn't the end of the story for silver coins. Far from it. In 1986, the US Mint started a new program, creating the American Silver Eagle. This is a 1-ounce, 99.9% pure silver coin. It has a legal tender face value of $1, but its real value is tied to the spot price of silver, which is obviously much higher. These are not meant for spending at the grocery store. They are what's known as bullion coins, designed for people who want to invest in physical silver. They are the most popular silver bullion coin in the world, with millions sold every year. Collecting silver coins or numismatics is a huge hobby. It's bigger than ever. People collect for all sorts of reasons. Some people love the history and the stories behind the coins. Others are like treasure hunters, always searching for that rare date or mint mark that could be worth a small fortune. You might have a 1916D mercury dime in an old jar that could be worth thousands. Then you have people who just love the art. Modern mints around the world, from Canada with its maple leaf to Australia with its kookaburra, produce stunningly beautiful silver coins with amazing designs every year. So silver coins today live a double life. On one hand, the old silver coins are relics of the past, historical artifacts that we collect and study. They are tangible links to the world of our parents and grandparents. On the other hand, new silver coins are a modern investment vehicle, a way for people to own a tangible asset in a world of digital finance. Whether you're carefully placing a rare Morgan dollar into an album or stacking tubes of shiny new silver eagles, you're part of a tradition that goes back thousands of years, the enduring human fascination with the cool white glow of silver. Now for the fun stuff. The world of silver coins is full of weird and wonderful extremes. Let's start small. What's the smallest silver coin ever made? That title probably goes to the tiny silver tara from the Vijayanagara Empire in southern India, dating back to around the 14th century. These things are minuscule, sometimes weighing as little as 0.04 grams and measuring only 4 millimeters across. They look like little more than a silver speck. You have to wonder how many of these were lost just by being dropped. It shows that even a tiny amount of silver was considered valuable enough to be made into a coin for small, everyday purchases. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the giants. For a long time, the record for the world's largest silver coin was held by a massive 10-kilogram coin from the Perth Mint in Australia. But in 2011, they completely outdid themselves. They created a coin that weighs 1 metric ton. That's over 2,200 pounds of 99.99% pure silver. It's nearly 3 feet in diameter and almost 5 inches thick. It features a kangaroo on one side and Queen Elizabeth II on the other, and has a face value of 1 million Australian dollars. Of course, its silver content is worth tens of millions. It's more of a publicity stunt than a coin, but it's an incredible piece of work. Then you have the coins that are famous not for their size, but for their incredible rarity and the stories behind them. I already mentioned the 1794 flowing hair dollar. Another legendary American rarity is the 1804 draped bust silver dollar. Here's the kicker. None of these coins were actually minted in 1804. They were secretly struck by the US Mint in the 1830s to be included in special proof sets for diplomatic gifts. Only 15 are known to exist, and they are often called the King of American Coins. Whenever one comes up for auction, it's a major event in the collecting world, with prices easily reaching into the millions of dollars. And sometimes, a coin's value comes from a mistake. A great example is the 1942 /1 overdate mercury dime. At the Philadelphia Mint, a die from 1941 was accidentally repunched with the 1942 date, creating a faint but visible one underneath the two. It's a small error that most people would never notice. But for collectors, this tiny mistake makes the coin incredibly rare and desirable. It just goes to show you, in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the imperfections are what make something perfect. You always have to look closely, because you never know what you're going to find. So, after this journey through thousands of years, what's the bottom line? Why do we, especially here in America, still have this love affair with silver coins? I think it comes down to a few simple things. First, it's about trust. Silver has been real money for longer than any other form of currency. In a world of digital transactions and fluctuating stock markets, there's a deep, primal comfort in holding a solid piece of precious metal in your hand. It feels real because it is real. It has intrinsic value that doesn't depend on a government or a bank to guarantee it. It's a universal constant. Second, it's about history. Every old silver coin is a time capsule. A Morgan dollar isn't just a piece of silver. It's the Wild West. It's cowboys and railroads. It's the story of America's expansion and industrial might. A Roman denarius is a piece of the empire that laid the foundations of Western civilization. When you collect these coins, you're not just collecting metal, you're collecting stories. You become a custodian of these small pieces of history, preserving them for the next generation. It connects you to the past in a way that reading a book just can't. Third, it's about the thrill of the hunt. The world of coin collecting is a massive treasure hunt. Maybe you'll find a rare coin in a roll from the bank. Maybe you'll inherit a coffee can full of old coins from your grandfather and find something amazing inside. Maybe you'll spot that one key date at a flea market that everyone else missed. It's the possibility that keeps people engaged. It's the idea that you could discover something incredibly valuable right under your nose. It's a hobby that rewards knowledge, patience, and a sharp eye. It's a challenge, and people love a good challenge. In the end, silver coins represent the perfect blend of art, history, and value. They are beautiful objects, miniature sculptures that reflect the artistic styles of their time. They are historical documents, telling the stories of kings, empires, and the everyday people who use them. And they are a store of wealth, a tangible asset that has held its value through the ages. Whether you're a serious investor, a dedicated historian, or just someone who appreciates a good story, the shiny legacy of silver has something to offer. And that, my friends, is why these little pieces of metal will continue to fascinate us for a long, long time to come.